Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very senior and accomplished entrepreneur from the world of publishing from Tel Aviv, Israel, Mr. Yehuda Niv. Yehuda, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Yehuda is the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Spines, which is the world's first tech-powered publishing platform. The Spines platform revolutionizes every aspect of the publishing process, from proofreading, formatting, cover design, distribution, and marketing. So, Yehuda, my first question for you before we come to the Spines platform, you authored a book many years ago and that experience led you to discover how outdated traditional publishing was. What was the moment when you realized the industry needed disruption?
Hmm. So it was in 2013 that my first book was published.
Mm-hmm.
And a year before that, I I was working with an editor of my book, and suddenly I got my whole book printed in the mail with comments in pen, and I had to go over them with a different color of a pen.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I finished reviewing all of that, I had to send that away. And I remember being very scared, like, what happens if that disappear in the mailbox? Okay, like a whole year of a process could
Correct.
go away, and the whole process was inefficient. Like
Yeah.
it was the same as it was 100 years ago, in
Mm.
my experience.
Yeah.
And I realized, I was back in the day halfway throughout my master's degree at electronics engineering, and I was working on amazing technologies every day, and I
Mm.
and I felt like the publishing as left out in the last century. So I decided to do something about it. And again, I had nothing to do with publishing. As I said, I'm an engineer, but it started in my dorm room when I was a student. And it took a while, but nowadays, 13 years after the company I funded back in the day, 13 years after that, it's now the largest publishing house in Israel. Okay,
Wow.
it named I wasn't that clever about the name of the company. I named it Niv Publishing after my last
Mm-hmm.
name.
Mm-hmm.
But today it's responsible to 1,200 titles a year published in Israel,
Wow.
which the whole publishing industry in Israel publish only 7,000 titles a year. Okay, so our 18% of the industry in Israel,
Mm.
and the next competition in Israel can publish about 300 titles a year. Okay, so we are
Mm.
4 times larger than the next competition.
Mm.
And again, I developed an amazing company with lot of smart processes and very advanced. And about 6 years ago, I kind of finished structuring the management team in Niv Publishing.
Mm.
Finally, I got my life back. I could rest a little bit. I could travel the world,
Mm.
and I started to do some angel investing. To date, I invested up to date in 17 startups already. And while I met those tech founders, I actually realized what they're actually working on, which is
Mm.
AI. And
Mm.
it was 2 years before ChatGPT even released.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood that this emerging technology probably will revolutionize everything.
Yeah.
So I decided to start another company. At the beginning, again, the name wasn't that clever. I started as Books AI,
Mm-hmm.
Books AI, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
But eventually we changed the name to Spines, which is much more clever of a name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And started with my own capital, but soon I realized it will never be enough. So we raised today $22.5 million from top tier investors. We've been able to grow very, very fast in the US market. To date, we published more than 6,000 American authors already in the States that we help them realize their publishing dream. And Spines, we take care of everything: the editing, the proofreading, the formatting, the cover design, an AI narrated audiobook, distribution across 100 distribution channels, either it's on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, Baker and Taylor, royalty management. And also, we have a marketing tool that can help the authors. So We are an author-oriented platform that solve all of his needs from A to Z.
Hmm.
Because I'm an author who happened to build a very successful publishing company,
Yeah.
and the team that worked with me on Niv Publishing is now working with me on Spines, in Spines. So this is why we were able to create a massive impact in such short of a time, and we were able to onboard some of the best investors on the planet to help us grow very, very
Very interesting.
rapidly in the
Very
States.
interesting. But tell me, Yehuda, you call Spines the world's first tech-driven publishing platform. How
Yes,
is it different from self-publishing or hybrid publishing that is being offered by so many people, including Amazon?
amazing. So um, let, let's start with the approach.
Hmm.
So our approach is AI first. Everything we want to do, we first look, is there an available process based on AI that can save time, cost, effort, money, and make it much more efficient.
Hmm.
So I'll give you an example. Let's take a simple process, a cover design. Okay. So even if you want to upload your book to Amazon, a cover designer has to work with you on your
Hmm.
cover. Okay.
Hmm.
You can do it by yourself on
Yeah.
Canva, but it will never be good enough because you have to find a designer that understand the book, understand the category you are competing in.
Hmm.
And every author will tell you that it was so hard working on the cover because the cover designer had no time to read the book
Hmm.
because he has to design covers all
Yeah.
day long. You have no time to read.
Yeah.
So what we do with Spines, our AI tools, we scan the book. The AI understand the essence of the book.
Hmm.
Then it goes and make category research. Okay,
Hmm.
and it understand. Okay, in those categories, the book actually has a chance. Okay, and let's design a cover that is best suited for those categories.
Yeah.
And instead of that being a process of 2 months, it happens in minutes. Okay, on the platform in real time. And if the author don't like the outcome, he can press a button and here is suggested another cover. Okay,
Hmm.
and let's say he loved the cover, but he want to add I don't know, a hat to the character. Okay, so he can prompt it and he can chat with the cover and tell the cover how he'd like the cover to look like.
Hmm.
So that's only the cover design part.
Yeah.
Okay, there are so many aspects to publishing process.
Hmm.
Okay, and we took each one of them, broke them down to, okay, this is how it used to be done. That's irrelevant to nowadays. This is how it should be done. Okay. And by doing that, we took 6 to 18 months of a process of publishing a book, and we got it down to only 3 weeks.
Hmm.
Now
Amazing.
you, as an author, you can meet your
Yeah.
readers faster. So instead of you waiting for 18 months of a process for you receive a feedback from readers,
Yeah.
you can meet your readers in 1 month, in 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's this is the next stage of publishing.
Absolutely.
However, I believe eventually all the publishing companies, the hybrid, the traditional, the vanity, whatever,
Hmm. Hmm.
all of them will eventually turn out to become a publishing platform. I believe
Hmm.
the concept of a publishing company will change to publishing platform,
Hmm.
and those who will not understand it will
Hmm.
never survive the AI revolutionize happening on the planet.
Very
So I
interesting.
realized that, and I realized I have two options. Either I will lead this opportunity or I'll become relevant by it eventually. So I decided to lead it.
Fascinating. So,
Yes.
when it comes to technology, and you're saying that you can transform proofreading, formatting, and the design process for authors, what is this technology that you have developed, which seems to be revolutionizing publishing? I mean, if I can get my book out in 1 month or 2 months, it's a huge change because I'm a published author of 10 books, and I know after writing it, it could take 12 to 18 months.
Yes, so every part of the process of publishing we had to figure out
Yeah.
differently, because in publishing a book you have to handle a lot of kinds of AI. So you
Yeah.
have the LLM part, which is the textual part of the
Yeah.
book. but then you have the visual part of the book, okay? And that's not only visual, because in the cover you also have text, okay? So it's a typography artist you have to solve, okay? And then all the technicals part of how the cover should be closed as a file for it to be compliance with all of the platform. Then there is the voice part. So you want to create an audiobook version as well, okay? And for each one, we had to develop our own custom algorithms to take care of.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example for the audiobook, okay? So nowadays you have a lot of tools that you can upload the text and get a voice generated of the text you uploaded. But that's not something that you can hear for 10 hours straight. Okay. It start to feel that there's something wrong about it. Okay. And there are a lot of words that the AI still mispronounced. So what we do is we have our own voices. We have more than 300 voices. We can also ask the author to send us 3 minutes of his own voice, and now we can create a model of the author's own voice and use that to generate the whole audiobook. Then our algorithm estimate where in those 10 hours, okay, the AI mispronounced something, okay? And only for those cues we send the human ear to hear what's going on there and to fix that manually. So before that, what we were doing is we had a proof listening process that the AI generated the whole audiobook, and a human being has to listen to everything and fix any problem. But our algorithms learn from that, and now we are able to estimate and save all of that human labor and human time. So instead of one proof listener taking care of one audiobook in 3 or 4 days, now one proof listeners can take care of 3 or 4 audiobooks in one day. Again, we have a man in the loop, but it's an AI first process. Okay, so I need someone to listen to all of that. Let's use AI to predict what we have to listen to. Okay, in every step of the publishing process, we had to figure out something. And audiobook, it's a huge opportunity. Most of the books being published in the States has no audiobook version because it's too expensive or labor intensive to create. But with AI, we can turn every book to an audiobook. And 40% of the book consumption in the States is voice. So while doing that, you can actually double the author audience only by creating a simple process of turning textbook to audiobook. So
very
a lot of
interesting
different challenges we had to face, and we create this progress. And this is why we are the first mover in the industry.
I'm sure. But tell me, from the perspective of an author, what are some misconceptions authors have about this whole concept of using AI? And there's also a general view amongst authors that if I use technology, my creativity may come down. I'd love to get your perspective.
Amazing. So Spines, we publish only books that were written by authors, by real people. We will never publish an AI generated book. Okay. Maybe in the future, but that's not what we are doing right now. We are focusing on the author. Okay. And we had a PR mistake when we announced our Series A. It was a $16 million Series A led by Oren Zeev, one of the top tier investor in the Silicon Valley. And I announced that we're about to publish 6,000 books. Okay, and that was a mistake because I should have told them that I'm about to publish 6,000 authors. So what happened? All the lazy readers out there who read only the title and didn't read the article thought that Spines, they are generating AI content and publishing it as a book. Okay, and that's the opposite of what we are doing. We are not here to replace authors. We are here to empower them. So actually, what we're trying to do is to give the author more time to develop his book, to create, to think creatively and write amazing books and focus only in writing, and our AI tools will take care of the rest. So what we do, we empower the author. So because you as a published author, me as well, you know the process. The fun process is getting it written, but then there is all these technical things that you have to do and communicate with a lot of people to make it happen. And why? Here is an AI tool. Use it. focus on the writing. So this is what we all about. And
Fascinating.
yes.
Fascinating. But tell me, how scalable is Spines for authors across different languages and cultures?
Mhm. So we only support mainly English books,
Hmm.
okay? But what we do support now is the transition from English to more languages. So let's say instead of you being an American author only, okay, let's translate your book to Spanish, let's translate your book to French, let's
Mm,
translate your book to more languages. And we have packages of languages that you can get from Spines. And now instead of being an American author, now you're international author. You know,
mm,
a lot of people publishing their book to build the personal brand, to build the
mm.
business equity,
Yeah.
you know. So for you to build your brand equity as a business leader, for example, okay,
Mm,
being an international author, that's better than being a published author.
mm,
Okay. So and so what we do, we have a hybrid solution that the AI do the heavy lifting of the translation, but then
mm,
a human in the loop make sure the quality of the translation was right. Okay, so
mm,
it's AI for speed, human for quality. And now what we have is instead of the book only being available for one audience, now you can double, quadruple your audience by making it available to more languages. And now
mm,
we'll start to experience with translating from different languages to English.
mm.
So let's say you published your book in Russia. I don't know, you're a Russian
Yeah.
author
Yeah.
or in Latin America and you
Mm,
wrote your book in Spanish and now you want to translate it to English with
mm,
AI. It's a very fast process. Instead of you work with a translator, it will cost you tens of thousands of dollars to do that. With our tools, you can do that effortlessly. And the men who are verifying the quality of translation, you actually need less human labor in the process, so it's much more cost effective. And
mm,
now you can make your book available to all the American readers, which is the second reader market, second only to China, by the way. Okay, so it's a huge market, and everyone want to enter the American
yeah.
market. You know, that's the
Mm.
holy grail of publishing.
Correct.
So
Correct.
all of those translations between
Mm.
language. By the way, I think as AI will develop, it will be seamlessly. Okay,
Absolutely.
like you
Absolutely.
could read any content in any language,
Correct.
but you still need some man in the loop. This is why we had this process.
Yeah, I agree. I have time for two more questions for you, Yehuda.
Sure.
Uh, what impact do you think spines will have on the global publishing supply chain from printers to distributors to booksellers?
So what I think is happening now
Mm,
is the amount of books being published is getting increased year by year,
mm,
and it will only get better because if before that, so let's say 100 year ago, publishing was something that was available only for selected few. If you are a professor
yeah,
or if you are the son of very strong political guy, now you can become a published author. Nowadays, anyone can do that, but
correct.
you have to pay top dollar to do that. Okay. So with AI being available to everyone, that barrier is getting lower. That means that a lot of books will that so let's say you spent a year writing your manuscript and now you realized, okay, I need to invest $50,000 to get it published. I will never have that kind of money. But now
Mm,
when it's only $2,000, why not?
mm,
Okay. Why not publish the third and the fourth and the fifth book? Okay.
mhm, mhm,
So you see that everyone who has the first book has already have a second one because why not? Okay. And everyone are very afraid of the quality.
mhm,
Okay. But I believe in the YouTube approach, not in the Netflix approach. So I'll give you an example.
mhm,
Netflix, they are very clever choosing their content.
mm.
However, YouTube allows anyone to upload
Correct.
whatever they would like and let the viewers decide what is better.
Mm,
Okay. And we
mm.
will have an algorithm in place that will push what's better further.
Yeah.
The same thing going on with books nowadays, like more content being published.
Mm,
Okay. Some of that might be nonsense. Okay. But who are we to decide? Who are we as a platform? We are a platform. We are a channel. We are not here to say who is worthy and who isn't worthy to become an author. If you
mm,
have a publishing dream, you are aspiring to become a published author, you can do that. Okay, let the readers decide if the book is good or not.
Correct.
Let's use the AI tools to make it better. Okay, to the editing, to the formatting, to the cover design to be more compelling, to the audiobook to be actually for the book to be available to more people because we distribute you in more languages, in more channels. Okay, but now let's let the readers decide what they want to read. So I think this is where the publishing world is going from a traditional aspect of only selected few to it's available for everyone, okay? But let's let the readers decide what they want to read. What they,
Very
this is
interesting.
the transition.
Very
Yes.
interesting. And my last question for you, Yehuda.
Sure.
You've built a publishing house. Now you've got a tech platform.
Yes.
What does success look like for Spines and for you in the next few years?
So eventually, my aim is in my lifetime to be responsible for at least 1 million books being published.
Wow.
Okay. So, one of my mentors back in the day told me that I need to find a way to help 1 billion people. If somehow I will be able to help at least 1 billion people, that will be a goal that you might be very, very a good idea for pursue that goal. And I realized that in my specific journey, the way I could do that is by publishing 1 million authors, because on average, each book will be read by 1,000 people. Okay, so if I will someone will be able to help 1 million authors publish their book, I will able to impact the lives of 1 billion people. So that's my life mission. So I started small in Israel. Now we are doing it big in the States with Spines. We are backed by top tier VCs who believe in this vision, and we powered by the best leverage machine of our time, which is AI. Okay, so I can publish more books with less human labor because I'm using the leverage of AI. I'm leveraging AI. So this is my life mission.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on that
Thank
note,
you.
Yehuda, I just want to say, from my perspective as a published author of 10 books with two more coming out in the next few months, what a fascinating conversation this has been. I wish I'd met you 15 years ago when I was published my first book. It is a challenge for every author to be able to first write, then to find a publisher, then wait for the publisher to finish the edits, then find the retailers and distribute the book and market the book. You seem to have got everything worked out for an author. Thank you for everything that you're doing for authors. I hope you get to 1 million authors and 1 billion people. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.